This week's problem involves a shopping spree, and one way to solve it is to work backwards. So we start with the $5 that Eloise came home with, and we realize that she's just spent 3/4 of her money, so the $5 represents 1/4 of her money, and the mental arithmetic tells us that $5 is 1/4 of $20. Now in the middle store, she spent half of what she had plus $5, so the $20 represents $5 less than half, and $20 is $5 less than $25. $25 is half of $50. Then in the first store, she spent half of her money plus $10, so the $50 is $10 less than half. $50 is $10 less than $60, and $60 is half of $120, which is the answer to this week's problem. This week's problem is similar to the cookie problem from a few weeks ago, and a student asked me if there was an algebraic way to set up an equation for that problem. And there was, and it's kind of annoying, but this week we will show you an annoying equation that will work for this week's problem. We start with n to represent her original amount of money, which is going to turn out to be $120. And then we just start subtracting each time she goes into a store. So the first store, she spends half of her money plus 10. And in the second store, she spends half of what she had left over plus 5. And then in the third store, and you see we needed a much smaller font here, she spends 3/4 of her remaining money. And all of that equals $5 shown on the far right. And trust me, when you solve this equation, n will be $120, which is the answer to this week's problem of the week.